Hello, my name is Sage Glover, and my topic is the collective self as defined by other people, culminating in a mixed media exhibition. But what is the collective self as defined by other people? I've prepared a short video to introduce you to my topic.
Who are you? What makes you, you? As an individual, the you which is yourself is something deeply personal, defined by the complexities of your life and your interests. From your personality, to your cadence and responses, to the way you dress your plate, you are undeniably, unequivocally unique. But how did you become yourself? Rumination on the self, as one might imagine, can be very self-contained. The looking glass self suggests a three-stage theory of socialization, a feedback loop where we imagine how others see us, use their reactions to interpret their perceptions, and then develop ourselves accordingly. Concepts of self-view suggest that we do things based on what we ourselves find attractive. For instance, the conscious decision to use a film camera versus one on our phone is rooted in an unconscious desire to affirm our self-image. You do things because you want to be the type of person who does them, and as such, become the type of person who does them. This image is often mistaken for self-worth, perhaps due to the inherent positive and negative connotations of some descriptors. The root of it all, however, is other people. We are nothing if not for other people. You may be thinking to yourself, preposterous! I am nothing if not for other people? What a horrible thing to say! But why? Why do you feel that way? There is something beautiful about the oft overlooked, even shunned, inherent interconnectedness and reliance we share with and on those around us. Everything we do, everything we love and hate and are, is directly impacted by those around us. From the big ways, direct interaction with those we hold dear, or otherwise, to the completely unseen strings that bind us to others, we are all tapestries woven of threads of connection. I am aiming to shine a light on these hidden connections, to not prove a point or define a concept, but rather to spark thought on the topic at hand. Who are you if not for other people? And if you are nothing if not for others, why is that a bad thing?
So, why is it that many people have this negative reaction to the notion that other people are what defines us? The answer is that we view people as constraints, whether literal constraints that keep us from doing the things we want, or simply existing as an entity which robs us of the credit we are owed through being the ones who live our own lives. People take. But the self is centered around other people. We are sort of performing a role that we've tailored to our environment. Our actions are dictated by others, regardless of whether or not that directly involves other people. Even when we're alone, the way we act tends to change, but that change was altered due to the context of a person nonetheless. But constraints are not a bad thing. We are social animals, perhaps sometimes even to a fault, and while interaction with others is not always strictly positive, it is still necessary. These constraints keep us connected. Erich Fromm was a German social psychologist who believed this to an extreme. He wrote about how we are all in a state of existential loneliness, which is the product of humanity's evolution. We are currently at our freest. We're not bound by nature, we have religious freedom, and for most people, our life is not dictated from birth in the way that it has been historically. He believed that if we do not escape our freedom in positive ways, we will do it in negative ones. And further, that with negative freedom, the freedom which we have in the absence of legitimate constraints, we become lost without something to do and somewhere to go. Desired constraints. The most quintessential example of these constraints is family. Regardless of one's relationship with blood family, we form bonds with others that fall into the group considered family. Those people who we remain with through thick and thin, who we mutually give and take from and care for. With the rise of technology, one's collective, so to speak, can even span across countries. We are more interconnected than ever. However, this rise in technology brings forward a new worry. Generative chatbots are becoming increasingly mainstream. While not the extreme negative that Fromm brought up, they are still undeniably an unhealthy approach to escaping freedom. And who wouldn't want a perfect quote-unquote person to be there for them 24/7? Aside from environmental issues, stolen content, and other such issues, these models can cause individuals to withdraw and neglect actual bonds with their surroundings. Back on topic, one of the biggest constraints is, of course, the lack of control you have over yourself in the eyes of others. We cannot control how we are perceived. We live on as fossilized versions of ourselves who we are not, or perhaps have not been in some time, yet who have become an imprint in others' lives. The most interesting part of this is that a literal interaction might not have taken place. Perhaps something you said offhand is now a part of someone you've never met and never will meet's vernacular, all because you were spread through a game of telephone. Who made the jingle of your favorite medium? Even if you will never know of them, they've made an impact on your life. Now on to the proper research. This has been fed by a lifetime of interest in the topic, so I will only be going over the very basics which fed into this project in a relevant way. Social organization falls into two main categories, community and society. We are moving away from a majorly community-based organization to a more societal one. However, many countries still place a lot of importance on collectivism rather than individualism, where the self is not considered so much as the group. Self-schemata is the way we summarize all the modules of ourself to other people, the you that is yourself in your mind. This is made up of things you like and dislike, and it is not so much the what you like as the why you like it. I and thou covers relations, I-thou being that between individuals and others in which you both mutually see each other as a whole, and I-it being those where you only see one side of someone or something, typically reserved for inanimate objects, but sometimes covering things like enemies or the relationship between yourself and a performer. I find fault with the concept because I find it beautiful how much of people is in things. All that being said, individualism is still extremely important, and a lack of focus on individuals can lead to a lack of seeing people as people. It is important to see people for who they are, but not negate the context of others and their importance in the role of forming other people. We are nothing if not for others, but we do not live for them. Our interests are our own, they're only shaped by that which is around us. Much of art was sponsored through religion. The Renaissance was chock full of such works, and different styles and themes, all centering about the same subject, all became like the facets of a diamond, reflecting beautiful images into a whole. The triptych, in particular, has always fascinated me. Gustav Klimt was best known for his paintings such as The Kiss, but his sketches are what intrigue me the most. They show a sort of mundane humanity. You see them and think, ah, that is a person. You see yourself in it and feel as though there is a life there that has been lived. Chinoiserie refers to the European interpretation of Chinese arts, their techniques reflected in a new application, yet retaining its influence. Much like your environment shapes you, it also shapes your artwork. Depending on my current interests, the subject matter of my work bends as well. When I was interested in sun and moon themed characters, my artwork carried a heavy celestial theme, and now that I'm interested in a game which delves into the themes and iconography of deceit, my current ceramic project reflects that as well. So, what is it that all of this research has led to exactly? The collective self, as defined by other people, is a mixed media exhibition which will span across a large wall, all of its contents aiming to show these connections. I will be showing my work in progress, as I wish for the final piece to be seen as it is intended, installed in full. The exhibition is chock full of subversive imagery and fusion of symbolism. The wall itself is to be cluttered with art and stuff, showing how the mundane which we overlook is just as important as the big things we take time to ruminate on. Everything is connected with Red Ribbon, a mix between the Red String of Fate and the obsessive detective board of crime soaps. The centerpiece is the theater box and marionette. Puppetry is often seen as symbolism for a power imbalance in a relationship, even control and abuse. But upon further consideration, what can a puppeteer do without their puppets? The box itself represents the performance that is our lives, and the marionette is supported by unnamed, anonymous, helping hands, unthought of, but holding it up nonetheless. 24 hand-painted plates rimmed with the oral recollection of recipes I've been told will be scattered about the wall. While we do not think about how much history goes into the food we enjoy, things from preferences to recipes are often the product of generations, or at least multiple people, before reaching us. The dog in sheep's clothing represents the way we cannot control our image in the eyes of others. The dog appears menacing to the viewer, and as though it is going to hurt the sheep. But the sheep and lamb know better, and understand its intentions are pure. Regardless of how we may seem to other people who don't matter, those who do care, and as such, know us for who we are. Their opinions are those that matter. My full exhibition will be opening on June the 3rd on the 3rd floor of Meyer Hall, where all the finished work will be seen. There is a lot more than that which has been briefly touched on here. And so we meet a conclusion. The collective self, as defined by other people, asks you to consider yourself in the context of others. Whether people or your environment, your surroundings feed into you. As a stranger on the internet said about their stuffed animal, to be loved is to be changed. Please take the time to consider everyone who has changed you. I'd like to acknowledge everyone who has helped me in the past 3 years, especially my mentor, Steve Bells. And I hope you can see the work once it is up. It will run through the summer with a reception immediately following graduation. Thank you. Any questions? No? Oh, yes, Barb?
What's been the most difficult piece for you to complete?
I'd say they're all about equally difficult. It's whatever I'm working on currently because that's what I'm dealing with. The most recent thing that I've been working on is a mosaic that is made out of shattered mirror, and it is about this tall. And the reason why that is challenging to me is actually not because of the putting it together, but trying to research ways to get around the superstition of shattering a mirror. So I threw salt over my shoulder, I span in circles. I do not want that bad luck following me. Yes?
Sage, I just wanted to commend you on your presentation and say I love the sociological influence, and I look forward to your exhibit on the 3rd floor.
Thank you.
Great presentation, Sage.
Thank you, Grammy.